Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities we may have today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, we're going to start off here on the daily, EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. Now what does the daily show us? Well, clearly on Friday, massive bearish engulfing. So this was NFP on Friday, massive bearish engulfing, and today already since we opened overnight, another massive bullish move already. So we've got a lot of bearish momentum. So to explain the full story, we had these highs here where our SMC divergence first came around from this low here to this high low on DXY, and this high here to this high on EU, which signaled possible EU weakness, right? Now it looks like that weakness is actually showing itself. This was very corrective move up, even on the higher time frame, obviously, though we wasn't sure when or if price was going to make that bearish move, because we started to make some internal highs above these highs here, right, when we made this new high. So that SMC could have eventually broken, but it didn't. We held price when we broke this low, kept this low intact, and now we've had that massive bearish move. So internally, you'll be able to see on the lower time frames, like the 4 hour, we've broken below this low, so that'll be a new internal bearish leg. We're well below our previous weekly and daily low. That sell side liquidity below here and here did nothing to reverse price. Now at the moment, we could say we have this daily order block here because it has that fair value gap as well around here. So we swept some liquidity around this area, mitigated this imbalance and made a new high. So we could see this area here as a possible support. Now it's not guaranteed obviously, but that's a possible area of support right now. Huge bearish momentum, so we'll see how that goes. We don't have the exact same imbalance around this area on DXY, but there are some order blocks there, and it is above these previous highs. May provide some sort of pullback and resistance just above these highs here from mitigating all of that buy side liquidity. Well, even behind obviously huge imbalance, which may draw price in later on. So I hope that was clear on the daily. Bearish momentum to take note, and clearly we've broken some internal structure to the lows with possible support around this area here. Now just another thing to note, of course, these all look like a sell side liquidity trend line, buy side liquidity trend line here above these highs, this high, this high. Same with these lows, right? We have the potential to obviously continue what was the bearish leg and trend before back down to these lows. So anyway, let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. Now on the 4 hour, that bearish new leg is very clear here. The massive momentum we've had since NFP, breaking below these lows here, taking all of this sell side liquidity and forming a new lower low. Now that support we mentioned on the daily also has a 4 hour order block with imbalance within it, so it does add a bit more confluence to that support. On this 4 hour chart here, we may reach down and dip down into this. We're already in the imbalance, so we may start to see that support show here with these candles. So we've got another couple hours left on this 4 hour candle for it to reject this area. So I think this is a good sign of support here, and we may pull back somewhat into maybe more of a premium. So we can draw out the leg, which is from here to here at this time on the 4 hour. So just a brief mention on price structure from my previous video where I was talking about weak lows, strong highs, all of that sort of stuff. Let's talk about this recent price structure. So this is presumed obviously a strong low until it fails, right? So we have that bullish price structure. We pulled back, rejected this area, and we were moving towards the highs. So we presume possible weak high scenario. Strong lows, strong highs, all eventually fell. That's how the trend changes. So when we came up and we failed to take this high and broke down, weak lows, right? So it's the same thing again now. We've reversed in that area. So I hope that's clarified that. So it failed to make a new high, so the low became weak. This price action, as I mentioned, was rather suspect anyway. It looked like we was creating some sort of sell side liquidity trend line. And at the end of the day, once NFP came out, we became very bearish. So anyway, back to current price action. The only concerns here The sync between DXY and EU is obviously not as aligned. Our 4-hour order block on DXY is just a bit more above price than it is here on EU. Possibly we reach down further or reject earlier, and DXY may or may not make it into that 4-hour order block area, right? But it's taken buy side liquidity from above these highs, and we may see that as a sponsor enough for a possible reversal. We've left behind massive imbalances on both DXY and EU to draw price in to fill these imbalances, so it's just more of a matter of time when there's enough support or buy side liquidity in order to sponsor that pullback. So even early on now in the 4-hour, it's starting to paint that picture for a bias. Now by bias already, it's most likely to be longs, right? We're down in an area of support. We've had loads of bearish momentum. We're in a discount obviously of this new leg here, and it makes sense that price is going to want to pull back to fill these imbalances to go towards more of a premium after taking so much sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity, and now we're within a higher time frame POI. So I think that's all a good sign to trade some sort of reversal. Let's go down to the hourly. I expect more of the same, but let's see what it shows us. On the hourly, quite zoomed out here at the moment. Just as a demonstration, we have the same leg here, massive bearish leg of course. We have a 1-hour order block deep within that 4-hour order block, right, with imbalance. So price obviously has the potential, because pricing is fractal, right, to go down further if it wishes to on the hourly to mitigate that hourly order block as well. So I've just drawn that in. Price doesn't have to, it can respect the 4-hour order block before pulling back as well. Okay, we have the same 1-hour order block at the extreme on DXY as well. Now we can clearly see where we have our new bearish leg here on the hourly. Plenty of imbalances along the way, a little order block here and here, which may provide some sort of resistance during the pullback if it happens. However, these are still within a discount, and these higher time frame POIs, you know, we would expect hopefully to pull back a lot more deeper and feel some imbalance higher up. How long it takes to get there, we don't know, but for the time being, I have the same bias being painted, right? We've got buy side liquidity taken on DXY above these highs. We've got our high time frame POIs around this area here as well. We've got all of these imbalances and draws on price even in the discount, which would make sense for price to be drawn to fill those gaps. We can see just by looking at these hourly candles, these recent candles, how they are forming. You can see they're all forming like low tests, dojis, even though this is Asia and overnight, just to read into those candle formations a bit more, they are no longer bearish engulfings like these previous candles. So they're showing some support. They're showing price beginning to slow down in its momentum, right? So maybe the support's coming into effect here already. Same on DXY. These candles are no longer bullish engulfings, and they may be signaling that price is slowing down, creating a support level here. While we're zoomed in on price, of course, we can see that early sign of weakness on Friday, where we introduced some more SMC divergence. We've obviously taken some internal buy side liquidity here before NFP, and price broke down with that early signal of weakness where DXY refused to make a lower low. So with that being said, let's go down to the M15 and see what opportunities we can see for today. Now, due to all that high time frame momentum, we're obviously super zoomed in here on the M15. So I hope everything's still clear. So what do we have here? So we have the 80 session here. We are starting to create some sort of support lows going into the London Open. Now, London Open may or may not have just swept those Asia lows, possibly created some sort of equal lows here. Would be great if it sweeps it. We've got a little mini lower time frame structure, so especially on the M5, this would be a high, this would be a high, so we could look for those to switch our order flow from. So what do I see for opportunity wise? Now, like I said, the bias is longs, we're deep in a discount, we've got all these higher time frame POIs. So what I would like to see is price to do basically what it's doing now, quite possibly, because I think it would be best as a clear sweep. Maybe price comes up above here or goes down first, doesn't matter, but let's say price does this, creates a little high, and then comes below, sweeping clearly Asia sell side liquidity and this London open as well, maybe some early buyers there for sell side liquidity, goes into this 4-hour POI and breaks above as a proper break of structure of this high here. We could then potentially get our lower time frame corrective pullback to our order block and imbalance for price to seek the other side of Asia, this imbalance, more of a premium, maybe a 1-hour POI, right? Even within the discount, we don't have to aim for the premium just yet, but towards the premium. So how would that look? Well, sell side liquidity below these lows, break of structure around this area here, possible inducement during the pullback around here, lower time frame order block with imbalance here, set our orders from that area, stop loss just below the lows, aiming for whatever percentage you aim for, other side of Asia, going with the cycle as well, right? Sweep one side of Asia, head towards the other side of Asia. Now the negatives for this would be, we've barely entertained these higher time frame POIs, so possibly price goes deeper. If it does this and pulls back, maybe it wants to go deeper, we never know. But it'd be best if we get a clear sweep as sponsorship now below these lows, these equal lows or relative equal lows, and then break structure. So I think this would be the opportunity I'd be looking for. Again, either this opportunity or the continuation of this opportunity. If we want to wait for a confirmation, maybe we pull back, and then what if this happens and we break above this structure again here, we can have our pullback to another lower time frame POI to continue upwards if it presents itself, if we get that structural break along here. So either one of those, fine for me. But yeah, that's what I'll be looking for from this discount, from these high time frame POIs, from that sell side liquidity sponsorship. If it happens, that way we would have DXY possibly looking like this, coming up above, taking the buy side from the top of its Asia cycle as well, and then heading back towards especially this imbalance here, right? This opening gap is an imbalance, and usually DXY wants to fill those. So I hope that's clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.